first of all, on the abortion analogy, I think that abortion should be illegal in the third trimester. But there should be, of course, an exception for the life and health of the mother that the doctor decides along with the mom. And if the Republicans say, no, that's too broad an exception, okay, we could have that debate. So, but I'm not sure how it relates to this. So,
I'm not even in favor of like criminalizing abortions in the third trimester. I think
that's fine. We disagree on that.
Yeah.
So, and again,
but do you understand why?
Happens, but the great majority of the American people agree with me on that.
Yeah. My job as someone with a perspective is to try to get other people to understand where I'm coming from on this issue, and I think I can try and communicate. I did as to why criminalizing third trimester abortions, which is an incredibly rare procedure to begin with.
It is incredibly rare.
It's an incredibly rare procedure to begin with, is only adding additional legal hurdles in an otherwise incredibly traumatic experience that the carrier is going through.
What it's doing is
completely unnecessary.
It's making your position look extreme for no reason when the great majority of the incredibly rare cases are a medical necessity. Almost all of them are a medical necessity. Once you put a medical necessity exception in, you're needlessly making your position look more extreme by saying you're allowed to abort up until the day of the delivery.
No, there's always going to be,
and it's also not correct.
No, it is.
I think
you cannot get a third trimester abortion that is not already an incredibly complicated medical procedure.
That's right, because it's illegal.
No,
it is illegal.
No, it's not because it's illegal. There are states where there's no legal restrictions on third trimester abortions, but the reason why it is unnecessary and conciliatory to the Republican position that is born out of not real truth of the matter, but instead hysterical, made-up hallucinations like women are getting fun abortions after carrying a pregnancy to almost term, is because you're adding an unnecessary legal hurdle on a complicated medical procedure that is automatically limited by its own complication.
If you do that policy, Haas, the Republicans
exists.
No, I get it. And by the way, and the Republicans do use that in debates. And what it does is it hurts abortion rights. It hurts abortion rights because what winds up happening is they go, oh, these sons of bitches want to abort right up until the day of the abortion, and that's why they're so extreme. Make sure you agree with us. 6 weeks. Wait, how the hell did we get to 6 weeks? Everybody already agrees to 24 weeks.
Yeah.
24 weeks is the correct standard. 24 weeks protects almost all women. And you protect the women beyond
now
that.
They say post-birth abortions. It's ridiculous, but they're going to keep repeating it.
When you have the correct position that the great majority of Americans agree with, you could easily beat back that extreme statement that they're making.
You cannot concede or cave or capitulate to right-wing framing, especially when it's not born out of the data or the reality of the matter.
You're saying I think it should be illegal.
They make people look
the third
crazy.
trimester. But I think it should be illegal in the third trimester.
Okay.
Why? Because I agree with you. It's exceptionally rare, and almost all the time it's medical reasons, and people don't have abortions for fun.
Yeah.
But
especially at that point, because it's such a such an invasive procedure to actually conduct that automatically limits the number of people that can get it regardless.
But as a matter of law, should you be allowed to get an abortion because you chose to after the fetus is viable? And I think the answer is no. Once the fetus is viable, it's an independent human being. And you don't get to make that choice on your own without a consultation of a doctor saying, yeah, no, you're right. Your life is in danger.
Fetus viability will improve with medical science as well. Does that mean that if in the future the fetus could be viable outside of the womb?
Yeah,
in
take it out and you deal with it. Yeah, I think it's okay.
That's crazy.
You think so you're saying if a fetus is viable and and the pregnancy just got started.
Yeah.
And somebody says, I'll take care of that baby.
Do you understand the process?
No, I don't want to.
Do you understand the process of taking it out? That is also an invasive medical procedure.
But you're saying in the future when it's possible. Of course, I'm not saying now.
But fetus viability can happen at what, like 6 months? Let's say a premature baby can exist outside in a vacuum. Like the fact that you have to still cut a woman up to be able to get that out is like.
I know, but we're not cutting her up, Haas. We're just saying you have to finish the pregnancy.
No, I fundamentally disagree with you on this.
Okay, no problem. We'll disagree.
I'm just letting you know.
In the third trimester, by the way, my standard is the Roe standard, right? You're going beyond Roe. Roe said illegal in the third trimester.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't like my
so
statement
you're
is
going
my
past
statement
Roe,
is
and I'm saying
no.
Roe's-
Roe applies a minimum standard. That's the most important. That's the most consequential aspect of Roe is that there is a minimum standard that states cannot go beyond, and I think that it's valid to have a minimum standard as a federally protected a mandate when there are plenty of states, as we saw, that already had automatic trigger laws that would implement if Roe v. Wade was overturned. As long as there's a minimum standard, then that's good. I would go so far as to say that there should be no legal hurdles whatsoever, especially considering that the third trimester abortions, as you and I both agree, is not like a fun abortion, especially because the process in which you're the process in which you're getting to a third trimester is already laborious to begin with.
So strategically, I bet we have a disagreement here. When I look at the abortion issue as an example, Republicans say that it should be either 0 weeks or 6 weeks where the woman loses her rights, right? Loosely speaking, the right wing says that. You're saying the entire 9 months it should be up to the woman, and I'm saying 24 weeks. So now the majority of Americans think 24 weeks. But but if we go with your 9 month strategy, House, what I'm worried about is that we're going to wind up at 15 weeks instead of 24 weeks because the Republicans are going to say, look at how extreme they are. Look at how extreme they are. They're saying that you should be able to, whether they do or they don't.
Regardless of the majority position, the Republicans did undermine the democratic process. I think you and I are aware of that, right?
What do you mean by that?
Like, regardless of how good of an argument that the Democrats could have presented on this issue, the Republicans still went in. What did they do? They used the Federalist Society over the course of 45 years and basically, beefed up the ranks of the Supreme Court and actually did undermine public opinion on this matter, the democratic principle on this matter.
I don't agree with any of that. They took over the Supreme Court, but they didn't do it in an undemocratic way. They won elections. The only thing that was undemocratic and wrong as a matter of process
the Supreme Court is an inherently undemocratic. The Supreme Court is an undemocratic institution.
With the Supreme Court. No, I don't agree with that. But the Supreme Court has done massive damage, and it's because the right wing did put in activist judges, etc. But in terms of, and I think Roe v. Wade was decided wrong. But as a matter of law, I would adopt Roe v. Wade immediately.
The three appointments.
You're going to drive them to go to 15 weeks.
The three appointments in the
weeks.
Supreme Court lied to the American public in congressional hearings deliberately, calling Roe v. Wade a super precedent, implying that the democratic wishes of the American population.
Oh, everybody knew they were fucking liars.
Yeah,
other than the
I know, but there's a reason why they did that. Is because that's inherently corrupt and inherently undemocratic. The Supreme Court as a function is not democratic.
If you believe a right-wing Supreme Court candidate, when they say they're going to call balls and strikes, you're a moron.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, I never did. But my point is that it is a fundamentally undemocratic institution. On its fundamentals, the Supreme Court is an undemocratic institution.
Now we're debating the Supreme Court. That's too long a debate, brother.
Okay, but I